stuff, trade a lot. And, what I realized was the way to make a ton of money on cards is really just understanding, what is valuable and what parts of, different places. So I would travel around and what I could get for Atlanta.
Hey, what up, everybody? So excited. Today, I have the pleasure here to have Abraham Gray. He's one of our members in our community in Subto and Deal Maker Prodigy. Super pumped to have him. Thank you, Abraham, for being here with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think, yeah, man, this is awesome. Thank you. It's you've accomplished a lot, right? In your journey so far, you've owned multiple businesses, you own a lot of real estate, and it always takes me back to the story you shared about when you started with selling baseball cards at an early age. And for those that don't know Abraham, please go check out his YouTube channel. He has a lot of amazing stories about business and real estate. And we'll put all those details at the end. But yeah, I just wanted to start there, Abraham, and I'm curious, because I collected football cards and basketball cards back in my day. But I was curious, how did that journey start for you? Like when you're like, dude, I'm gonna make money off of these.
Yeah, so literally, I just loved football. I mean, I collected mostly football cards when I was younger because I grew up in Miami and they only had a football team. They didn't have any other teams. So I collected mostly football cards, a little bit baseball, very little basketball. But eventually, once I turned 15 and I moved away, I still was big into sports. So I collected it and I would go to these trade shows and try to buy more and trade and all these different things. And then I saw how much money you can make on it. And I was like, you know what? I sold a few cars to a few people that I didn't want. And I made money on it. I'm like, wow. So I just got, every week I would just try to sell a little bit more, figure out what people wanted, figure out how to buy it cheaper. And eventually it just became a business. And I started making like really decent money for a 15-year-old. And by the time I was 16 and it was starting to drive, I started setting up at these baseball card shows every single week. And we just, have a booth, buy stuff from people, sell my stuff, trade a lot. And, what I realized was the way to make a ton of money on cards is really just understanding, what is valuable and what parts of, different places. So I would travel around and what I could get for Atlanta Braves card in Atlanta was really high. But when I went to Chicago, nobody really cared about Atlanta. When I traveled around, I would buy like the hot cards from my area, sell them, the Chicago cards in Chicago, the Dodger cards in Los Angeles. And on top of that, I got really good at knowing what stuff was worth. That's what was really important. Just like what's important in real estate, knowing how to underwrite. So you got to know how to underwrite your cards. So every single time I saw a card, I didn't have to look at a price tag. I just knew what it was worth because I just was in it so much. So like right now in real estate, if you send me an address in Atlanta, like within an hour, 50-mile radius, north, south, you tell me an address, I can tell you what the house is worth without even comping it because I do so much property here. So I was always doing cards. So I knew what everything was worth. So I was able to look through like people's collections that had hundreds of cards or even thousands of cards, look through it like in 5 or 10 minutes and make them an offer on the whole thing. So I was really fast and, that kind of helped me be able to buy a lot of stuff faster than anybody else, for more money than anybody else. I knew what I was doing. And literally just got better and better at it. And that's kind of how it took off. So when I was 15, I was making, a few $100s a week, sometimes up to $1,000 a week. When I was 16, I was making $1,000+ a week. 17, thousands of dollars a week, 18, 19, just crazy money. And that's how it all started. And from these baseball card shows, the way I got into other businesses were that other hot things became hot at different times. A lot of times for the holidays or whatever it was. And people would bring this stuff into these baseball card shows, get a booth, and sell these really hot items. And that's how I kind of figured out other hot stuff at the time. And, from there, I just got into more and more different hot businesses. And, here we're at today.
Wow, man. That's pretty cool. How you were able to, yeah, it's something, right? With how creative you got and you're like, yo, this player's he's popular in this area, right? And you were able to latch on to those little things that I guess many don't, right? And then
Yeah.
you just got very good at seeing that pattern.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, like literally, I remember sending all my Kirby Puckett cards to Minnesota, all my, Mike Piazza cards to Los Angeles, and then people would send me, like their John Smoltz, their Tom Glavine, the Dave Justice, the Ron Gant, all those. But we would get big money
Yeah,
for it. Like we would get like 5 to 10 times what anyone else could get for them, and so it just worked out where everyone was able to do good. And back then, the internet kind of just started. This is back in like around 1990 or so, and Prodigy was the big internet. And I used to get on Prodigy and buy all the Atlanta stuff and then find people that wanted stuff. Literally, there was very few people using the internet that way back then, and that was my big advantage.
man. So, I'm curious, right? As a 15-year-old, you were seeing those patterns, right? And I think, I don't know why, right? I don't know if it was generational or not. I think everybody goes through public school. I mean, majority, right, of U.S. citizens, right, go through a public school system, right, and then from there they get to high school, and then from there everybody's like, you need to go to college. You need to go to college. So
Yeah.
at the age of 15, right, you were already seeing patterns where you could create like success, right? You were like, hey, this worked, right? Well, why not try this? And I see you do this a lot within our Atlanta community, right? You have a lot of young talent around you that you're kind of like helping them, right? See these different patterns that you've experienced, and then they're also seeing their own patterns. And
Mhm.
that's pretty powerful, right? That you're kind of that mentor with them. How do you see like for younger kids, like when they're in high school already? What habits or steps you would recommend them? I have kids, right? So
Yeah.
what habits would you recommend? Hey, I need to start looking at this, or is it?
Yeah. So I mean, if you don't know, my views on stuff as far as school goes, I mean, I definitely think that for the most part, school is a waste of time, especially once you get past like middle school, like ninth, 10th grade, even like I think even the last couple of years of high school like aren't super important because you don't really learn stuff that's going to really help you make a lot of money. It's really like
Mm,
stuff you're learning is stuff you're not going to really need unless you're on Jeopardy, or stuff that really isn't going to help you like be an entrepreneur. And all the most wealthy people are entrepreneurs, they're real estate investors, like that. They
mm,
don't do any of that. And then once you get into college, they literally, you specialize in different things, you get into all this debt, and you learn stuff that you really don't need unless you're going to become a doctor or a lawyer, or certain types of engineer, certain types of things that you're going to do in life. You're going to need college, but 90% of people don't. And it's really meant to like train everybody to be able to work for other people. So we need that because
yeah,
like if we didn't have that, like you can't be an entrepreneur if you don't have people working for you. But that's what the school system does. It teaches everyone how to work for someone, and they say, look, you get to college, you're gonna be more secure. But I don't know if you really are. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy people do that because we need those people. But if I was in school, like once I would say high school, starting high school, especially like a few years in, junior, senior, I would say that you need to develop skills that are going to help you in life, which is being creative, making sure you build rapport. Building rapport, people, getting people to like you, and being creative
mm,
are probably the two most important things. They don't teach you that in school, but like I mean, I was terrible at school. Like I barely passed,
mm,
like barely passed. But I was super creative. That's how I was able to pass. But
yeah,
also, I got everyone to like me, so I was able to get what you want. Once you get people to like you, you kind of can get what you want, and then good things just start happening to you because you get to partner with different people, you get to network with certain people, and then
right.
it opens opportunities. So I would say definitely always be a good person, get people to like you. You never want to have people not like you, and figure out just out of the box things that other people don't think about. Like all the richest people, they thought of things that no one else thought of. That's how they became rich. So those are probably the two most important things that I would say for someone to do. And then figure out what you want to do. I mean, most people in high school don't know what they want to do, but most people know they want to make money. So figure out what kind of passions you have, and figure out how to make money with those passions is how it starts.
Yeah, I think one thing, right, that you mentioned out of that is that relationship building. And I think our current, our younger age group, right, they've been so in tune with their media devices, right, that you don't really build a true relationship or rapport with people, right? That's what I've been seeing here. Like my oldest son, I told him, dude, you just need to talk. Don't be afraid. Don't be nervous. Just do it, man.
It opens up so many more opportunities and so many doors that like you wouldn't have. So it's super crucial for sure.
Yeah,
I
it's
would,
interesting.
you have to push them to to be more outgoing, but to also just be more creative and really, like I said, get people to like you, like do good things to people, like help people. These types of things are what's going to make you more successful because what goes around comes around, and the better you are, the better things that are going to happen to you. If you're around all shitty people, you're going to end up being a shit person.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always say, who's your network, right? Who are the people you hang around with? What type of vibe you're getting from them? What are you feeding your mind, right?
Of course.
Because you're feeding your mind just crappy shit, then yeah, you're not going to get anywhere, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so at the age of 15, right, when you were doing this hustling, right, as you kept going, right, you surrounded yourself with those type of people that were hungry, right, that were like,
yeah,
hey, go getters, here, this is what we're going to do.
yeah.
And that's powerful. Do you still have those friends around from the
Always.
early age?
Yeah, always. I mean, I surround my people. I get surrounded by people that I look up to, that I want to be like them, in whatever aspect they're better than me at. Everyone's better than you at something. So I just look at all the people where I want to get to, and I find people that are a little bit ahead of me and hang around those people. So I've done that when I was little. That's how I got far, But I still do that every single day. Like literally every day, there's people that I surround myself with that I look up to, that I want to get to where they're at, or be able to do stuff with them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I mean, I know last I think 2 weeks ago, right? You were with Ryan Pineda and in his interview up there in his event. That was an
Yeah,
amazing
yeah.
event y'all
I've done
had.
so many cool events lately, and so many cool like podcasts lately. I've done some podcasts with people that have millions of subscribers that watch it. But yeah, I mean that's going to open up doors to do deals with people. You do it because you want to do deals with people. You want to help people. You want to work with people. You want to make money with people. So that's what makes you be able to do it with more and more people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had the opportunity to talk to Angelo Peña, and you were a big part of his journey, right? Being able to help him in his current journey, and it's like,
Yeah,
man, and
we're
you've
partners.
helped so many others. Like, yeah, you guys are partners. And like I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, right? You have this young crowd around you that you're feeding them all your knowledge and energy. I mean, that's amazing. Thank you
He's
for
old
doing
though.
that
He's an old
and
guy.
help.
He's I think he isn't. Didn't he just have his 40th birthday or something? I don't know.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. That's Angelo, but like Alexis, right? You
No,
have her around you, and then there's
yeah,
some other youngsters around you. That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
always a lot of users. But I'm 50 next year. One more year.
One more, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 41. Yeah, Abraham, like I said, I value your time, man, and I just wanted to make this quick and short about creativity. About how sometimes, as parents, sometimes I think we just need to get it out of our own way, right, and be like, hey, school is great to a certain point, but school just tends to shape a direction that people just want you to, they'll funnel you into a certain thing, right, and they kind of create that creativity away from you.
Oh, 100%. I mean, school I think is pretty important through elementary and probably middle school. But then once you start getting to high school, you really got to, figure out what direction you want to go in life and figure out a way to get there and use the school or people around you or other people that you look up to help you get there. But keep continuing on in school, like after high school. It's like you really gotta want to be, that doctor or that lawyer or that, that whatever that is that you have to have it. But most people just go to school and probably waste a lot of their time where they could be
Waste.
figuring out people that can help them, they can work with, network with, and do well with, and learn, more important stuff. But I guess that it's always gonna be like that because that's the way America wants it. That's the way the world wants it. But yeah, I mean, the smart people are gonna figure out better ways to do with their life, after and hang around the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I heard, other people is like, well, you got to read books, read books. And it's great, right? Having that knowledge, right? But if you don't surround yourself with the people like what you're saying, right? And you don't take action, that doesn't do you any good, right? Knowledge isn't good if you don't take action.
Yeah, there's so many people that like I've taught so much stuff to, or I've seen other people teach so much stuff to, and they know like crazy amounts of stuff, but then they don't do anything with it. It's such a waste. But then I see people that like know a fraction of what these people know, but they just are doing stuff, and I see them making money. I see them advancing their life. That all comes down to a whole other topic. That's like a whole mindset thing. Like mindset's
Mm,
super crucial. Like if you got to believe in yourself and you've got to know that you can do it. But yeah, a lot of people just in their mind think they just got to keep learning more and more and more to do anything. But some people just are like, all right, I'm just going to do it because I know I'll figure it out. Those are the people that become successful.
God, yeah, that's important in there, because I think at least from my culture, right, as Hispanic, they always say you got to work harder, and it's like a completely paradigm shift, right? When you
Yeah.
think it's like, well, why do I have to keep working harder? Working harder is good to a certain extent, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
But
no, for sure. It's important to work hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even no matter who you are, no matter how creative you are, no matter how, everyone busted their ass and worked very
yeah,
hard for a while. Even if they're not doing it now, everybody did in the beginning. You don't just get to where you get without busting your ass and working hard. But at some point, you don't have to work hard anymore. But in the beginning, I think everybody should have to
yeah,
work.
not working in the business, but on the business. That's
Yeah,
insane, right?
that's what it is now. Like once you get to a point where you can do that, that's great. But I think in the beginning stages of everyone's development or journey,
You
I
got to
think
work
everybody
it.
has to work in the business and bust their ass in the beginning.
Yeah,
Maybe it's a month, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year or two. But for some amount of time, it could be many years or a decade. But at some point, eventually you're gonna understand all that stuff, and then you don't have to work in the business anymore. But I think if you never work in the business ever, like in the beginning, you're gonna miss out on a lot of stuff. You're not gonna have certain knowledge. You're not gonna understand the people that are working for you, what they're going through. So I think it's important to always work in it in the beginning when you're young and before you get to where you don't have to anymore.
mm. Yeah, it's important. Yeah, to get a feel from the employee's perspective, right, and be able to understand what they're going through. That is
Yeah,
important.
for sure. The way you get really successful, and the reason why I get so creative is because I'm always able to see both sides of everything. Like if me and you have a disagreement, I'm very good at figuring out why you think what you think and why I think what I think, and I'm very good at coming up with a compromise that will make sense because I can understand what you're thinking. But if I don't understand what you're thinking, then I can never do that. So you have to understand where the other person's coming from and at least their logic.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, man. That's good. Yeah, because I remember you told that story about your wife too, about how much time you were spending together and what made sense, right? You were like, yeah, I could do this, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
I'm
was
gonna tell
good.
that story like a couple times, and not even in a big crowd. It was a small group of people. But yeah, that's a good story. I gotta tell that story on a big stage next time I talk again.
Yeah, that was pretty good. To your point, how do you read people? How do you understand, right? Because you understood their point or you understood her point, right?
Mhm.
But how do you compromise? It's an amazing way to negotiate.
Yeah,
But Abraham, I said thank you, man. Thanks for taking time out of your business, your
yep.
family, man. Hope to see you here on the next meetup, man.
I'll be
Super
here.
blessed.
Come by my office. Let's do some deals. Let's make some money together.
Oh, I love it, man. I shot you two properties the other day. I walked them. They were completely trashed, man.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
think, I asked the agent to cut down the price and he's like, no, we're not taking that. I was like, okay, well,
Right
that's not
now,
going to work.
it's a lot tougher now to buy properties than it's been in the past. Like, people just want too much. Like I don't understand exactly what's going on that they have, but yeah, you gotta get good deals. The worst thing you can do is buy a bad deal because it's gonna be more of a headache than anything.
Yeah. But again, Abraham, man, thank you, man, for
Yeah, of
taking time, brother. And
course.
peace out.
Anything.